Welcome to another episode of National Divorce Talk Raw. This will be a somewhat sobering episode. We're going to discuss something that personally disgusts me. I really can't believe America did this, but America did this. And when I cover it, you're going to see how America values and California values are massively divided and out of line with each other. I'll show you the horror story in just a second. Pretty disgusting. Get ready. Check this out first, though. Well, welcome to another episode of National Divorce Talk Raw, where we cover the issues related to secession, national divorce, and the case for California in particular to leave the United States and pursue its own destiny. Right off the bat, let's get some marketing done. Hashtag Calexit, hashtag Calexit, hashtag Calexit Congress, hashtag Calexit Now, hashtag California Independence, hashtag Texit, hashtag Eternia, hashtag New Hampshire, exit, hashtag MIBC, Movimiento de Independencia de Baja Peninsula, de Baja California, hashtag Aloha Independence, hashtag Caltexit, hashtag Caltexit Now, hashtag Cascadia, hashtag Pacifica. Welcome to all of you. We're going to keep the dialogue going on the important news regarding secession and national divorce. Let's get into today's show. Well, Ohio recently passed a law that says that if you suspect a child in high school, in public school, is transgender, that school has the ability to have someone, maybe a medical professional, maybe not, maybe just a person, inspect your daughter's genitals in order to prove she is a biological born female. I'm not making that up. I really didn't even want to cover this topic, but it's happening. So people are so worried about transgendered people in America that they are coming up with new radical laws in order to protect themselves from transgendered people participating in their athletic events. So there's a big steam right now where you have former males, I hope I'm saying this correct, I'm not trying to offend anybody, who convert to and identify as a female and then join women's sports and compete. Some people feel that that's unfair, that if you were born a man, you have a advantage over people who are born a female, even if you transition and take the hormone therapy and et cetera. So what they're talking about is that there's at least 30 states, over half of America, 61% of America outside of California. 61% of America outside of California is so horrified of the idea of transgendered athletes playing on girls' sports teams that they are looking at laws to ban transgendered people from being able to play sports in their local schools. And now, as we saw with Ohio, they are trying to create laws that allow a person, an adult, to physically inspect anyone who claims to be a female. They can physically inspect them, and I mean physically get up in their business and check it out in a very invasive, probing manner to confirm the gender of that person. They don't have to be a doctor, and they certainly don't have to be your child's preferred doctor. It can be someone that the school or the area picks. So we'll cover that, and you'll see. Yeah, and forgive me, I'm just really largely uncomfortable with this topic, so it's not going to be as well polished as my normal discussions where it's hard policy. Okay, so here we go. Let's get into it. So here's the bill. In Ohio, GOP passes bill aiming to root out suspected transgender female athletes with genital inspection. Yes, you read that right. House Republican lawmakers in Ohio passed a bill Wednesday night that would ban transgender girls and women from participating in high school and college athletics. It also comes with a verification process of checking the genitals of those accused of being trans. The, quotes, Save Women's Sports Act, or House Bill 61 in Ohio, was supposed to be on the schedule for legislators originally. However, at the last minute, Republican representatives added the language to a completely different bill. HB 151 would revise Ohio's teacher residency program, trying to reduce state control in schools. The bill, sponsored by the Republican state representative Don Jones from Freeport, got a surprise addition. News 5 State House reporter Morgan Trout tried to get the substitute bill numerous times during the session, but Democrats told her they didn't have it and had also been looking for it. Some Republicans said the same. Some didn't respond. It was finally sent to her the next afternoon while still not being posted online for the public to read. The bill was basically slipped in. As sub HB 151 would require schools, state universities, and private colleges to designate separate single-sex teams and sports for each sex. Across our country, female athletes are currently losing championships, scholarships, opportunities, medals, educations, and training opportunities, and more to discriminatory policies that allow biological males to compete in girls' sports. That's from Representative Jenna Powell from Arcanum, who is a proponent of the bill. There was only one transgendered girl in the entire state. And yet the people of Ohio were so terrified of transgender people that they had to make a law because of one person. Right. Think about that for a little bit. I don't really want to go into a lot of detail, but it might be worth it to comment on. If someone is suspected to be transgender, she must through evaluations of her external and internal genitalia, testosterone levels, and genetic makeup. This is a truly bizarre medically and nonsensically, but looking at it practically, this bill means that if anyone decides to question a child's true gender, that child must undergo a sensitive exam, the doctor said. A huge fear of Bruno's is that it will not only traumatize young people, but also can cause a huge ripple effect on competitions in general. Once inspected, the girl or woman has to give a signed physician statement indicating their sex based upon those three evaluations according to the bill. So there you go. Genital inspections on young girls in school, public schools and colleges if they want to play sports. No, this is not the OBGYN gynecologist that your daughter may have picked out. That's her choice. She should be able to pick out any doctor that she wants. This is someone other than the OBGYN that your daughter specifically picked out gets to examine your daughter and really get up in there and find out what's going on. So this is happening. And again, I want to point out this because of one person in Ohio who's transgender. Now they have to rewrite the whole law for everybody. But don't stop at Ohio. Okay, they're not alone. Take a look at this chart. There is a push for transgender youth sports bans. Ohio's in there, but there's additionally 30 states in total. The light blue-green states you see there are states like Ohio that are looking at ways to discriminate against transgender student athletes and will also be examining the ability of genital inspection as a way of discouraging transgender people from participating in sports. This chart comes from the Pew Research Center, March 24, 2021. Families say athletic bans would exact a toll on rural transgender youth. And what it shows is that when you really think about this, outside of California, 30 states are against transgender participation in girls' sports. Now, we ran the numbers, and that's about 61%. Ohio is one of 30 states that is pursuing legislation to discriminate against transgendered youth. This means that outside of California, 61%, 2/3. Outside of California, 61%, basically 2/3 of America outside of California does not support California values when it comes to protecting transgendered youth. So when we're talking about why California should be part of America, I want you to consider this. transgendered people are Californians. And yet your fellow Americans, 2/3 of them don't agree with you. What that means is that we are massively outvoted by our fellow Americans when it comes to protecting the rights of minorities, specifically transgender people. 61% outside of California does not share California values. It's the year 2022. When are they going to come around? The year 2060? Perhaps when aliens land. They'll begin to realize that transgendered people aren't the weirdest ones. It's the guys from planet Zorthox. It's an option. The other one is that we recognize as Californians that Americans, at least 2/3 of them outside of California's borders, are likely the same people who voted for Trump in 2016, almost voted for him in 2020, backed the Kavanaugh hearing like the Supreme Court as it is conservative, and generally just don't support our values. So I'm going to show you a few more maps to show how bad this is. So this is one map showing about 30 states ban transgender youth or attempting to. You can see it's almost all of America outside of California. They're not alone. Here's another map showing 78 anti-transgender measures in 25 states. Here's 30 states. Here's 25 states, 30 states, 25 states. We use this number for the 61% or 2/3. But this is basically also true.
Legislatures this year, at least 78 in 25 different states, and many of them with strikingly similar language, using phrases like biological sex, biological males, sex listed on birth certificates, and the nearly 50 bills that would ban trans athletes from playing on team sports. And the first of those bans was just signed into law by Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves last week. It is set to become law on July 1st.
Story. I need you to understand that this language, if it becomes law, will have real effects. As a parent to share my story, I need you to understand that this language, if it becomes law, will have real effects on real people. It will affect my daughter. It will mean she cannot play on the girls' volleyball team or dance squad or tennis team. It will mean she will not have the opportunity that all of us had to be part of a team.
That is a father talking about the discrimination against his daughter that will happen from this. That gets a little bit personal. Let's take another look at something very personal when we're looking at this. This was a section that was highlighted by the editor-in-chief, Jason Wright, and I will read it to you now. They're trying to convince people that trans people are after their well-being, their awards, whatever, she said. But it's also a reflection of just how politicized we are trying to make our youth, particularly our LGBTQ youth, and it's just not okay. Now more than ever, people want to belong. Democratic State Rep Phil Robinson from Solon said, quotes, if you think about what is happening in our country with a breakdown of our culture, it's not because there are people who are different, Robinson said. We're not making a place for everyone to feel included in a society. Ohio continues to drop in population count. Democrats believe it is due to Republican legislation surrounding abortion, guns, and education. Republicans say people want good weather and more job opportunities. Both could be true. This bill wouldn't be good for Ohio's economic development, which could also hurt job growth. Robinson had, you're talking anywhere from $300 million to $400 million that would happen instantaneously. He said the NCAA didn't say they wouldn't think about it. They have already committed to doing it. You can see how there's a discussion about the differences in our society and divisions in our country ripping us apart. There it is, the quote right there. And we've covered that many times here. When you look at that quote, and it's from this Ohio Journal, and you look at this map, you look at the map here we just showed you, it begins to make a pattern. Ohio is one of 30 states that is pursuing legislation to discriminate against transgendered youth. This means that outside of California, 61%, 2/3 of America, do not support California values when it comes to protecting minorities. We are massively outvoted Californians in being able to protect minorities and our values the way that we see fit, as long as we are part of America. And I hope you see that this is just an example of how bad it has become. That's it. It's a short episode today. Consider this. This is just a sign of more things to come. I don't think it's a coincidence that when you have Roe v. Wade being announced to be overturned, you can also see such egregious and horrific bills being proposed around the same time, such as this genital inspection of children. So, if you're already turning over Roe v. Wade, which I never thought I would see, and you're already proposing genital inspection of children, what's next? Like, sky's the limit, right? Republicans control the Supreme Court. Republicans will control the House and the Senate with midterms, and that means they will be able to control all the laws that are made and block any laws from being made. So if you like the abortion ruling being overturned, and if you like inspections of females' genitals as a way of hyperventilating about one transgendered youth in Ohio, then don't do anything. But if you think that's egregious and really extreme and over the top and way out of line with how we do things here in California, get ready for more. Because as we've talked to you, the concept is called tyranny of the minority, meaning that a collection of states, about 30 to 35 states, can represent 1/3 of the population, but dominate the Senate, the House, the Supreme Court, and the presidency, meaning they would control all laws that Californians have to live under. Something to consider. We'll see you next time.